breaking new ground with the digital effects on the KM and the inbuilt HDR feature of the K7, we didn't think that Pentax could possibly come out with anything new. Hi, I'm Matt Grayson, technical writer for ephotozine.com and ephotozine.tv, and today I'm actually going to show you something brand new on the Pentax KX. So despite being classed as an entry-level model, the features that it's racking up aren't actually that bad. It's got a 12.4 million pixel CMOS sensor and 11 autofocus points. The ISO is 200 to 6400, which can be expanded as low as 100 and as high as 12,800. It's got 4.7 frames per second, and the video runs at 1280 by 720p. Now that's not full HD, but it is HD nonetheless, and that also runs at 24 frames per second. It's got a 2.7-inch LCD screen, takes SD and SDHC memory cards, and also has live view. So here you can see the Pentax KX fitted with the 18-55 f3.5 to 5.6. Now if we take a quick look around the camera, we'll just move on to the top. First thing you can see is this big blue bright light here. Now this has been fitted on purpose. It used to be green, and what they've done is they've fitted this so that it looks a little bit more futuristic. This is essentially a Pentax KM, just with different features fitted to it. So you've got the green button, which is the Pentax green button. That can be dedicated to a multitude of different features which you can find in the custom menu on the main menu setup, which I'll take you through in a second. The exposure compensation button here is used when you're in either aperture, shutter priority, program mode, or sensitivity priority, and can be used to over or underexpose slightly if on purpose without having to mess around with the aperture. When you're in manual mode, there's only one dial on the back here to adjust shutter speed. So if you're wanting to adjust the aperture, you have to press this button down, and you'll see there that the aperture has changed. And then you can change over to, you can move the aperture because the highlight has changed over from the shutter speed. Pressing the button again will move it back onto the shutter speed for you to change that instead. There's nothing on the other side, which basically means it's all for a right-handed person. So moving on to the back, we've got the flash up button on here. Now that will activate the mechanical flash, which is the built-in one. There is a hot shoe here, so you can fit additional flash systems onto the camera. When this is in playback mode, which is the blue arrow there, you'll notice there are some other blue buttons as well, and these are to say that when you're in the playback mode, these will work in the playback and give you different options. So the dial, which is usually used for shutter speed, will then be used for zooming in onto your pictures so you can see if they're sharp and detailed enough. This button here will be used to delete the images if you don't want them. There's a live view button which you can press, and then that will flip the mirror up and show you the image as you see it through would normally see it through the viewfinder. The viewfinder then goes blank. The info button I'm going to take you through in just a second because that's an interesting new menu that they've brought up. And the navigation pad here is used for navigating through the menu system, the info button system, and also it doubles up as different things. So you've got your self timer, which also does your continuous shooting, ISO modes, flash modes when the flash is up, and your white balance. OK in the center just to confirm everything that you're wanting to do. So we'll go to the main menu, and you'll see that there's 4 different tabs: camera shooting, playback, setup, and custom modes. Within the shooting mode menu, is 4 different tabs. Now these different tabs or pages are individual to each other. They're not linked, so when you scroll down, if you go down from lens correction, you won't automatically go onto page 2. It goes back up to highlight the number 1, and then if you want to go to page 2, you have to press right on the navigation pad to go to page 2. I kind of like that because I think, you know, if you're wanting to look in this, then you should be looking in this and not being able to just scroll through onto the different pages. So that's quite good in that respect, and I quite like that. You can even change the colour of this if you want to. It's in the standard Pentax grey and black, but like I say, you can change it into different colours in the setup menu. If we come out of the menu and then we go to the info, that'll show you the new menu system that Pentax have been working on and released on the Pentax KX. So this is a new, easier to use one. It looks very similar to me in terms of layout to the Olympus menu system that they have on the DSLRs, which is a very easy to use menu system. So I'm glad that Pentax have been looking at things like that and have worked to get things easy to understand and use. And all you have to do is just use your navigation pad on the right there and then just scroll through. This will scroll through page, so if you press right from the shake reduction, it will go down onto the metering, and you can alter different options from there. Interesting is the cross-processing mode. Now that is for anybody who's used film in the past and have cross-processed a film. that's getting the film and processing it in the wrong chemicals will bring up different colours, different kind of saturation, overexpose, underexpose. Everything is unique to that individual image, which is great fun. So what we'll do is we'll go out now, we'll take pictures with the camera, and we'll show you the cross-processing filter as well as the HDR feature that's been brought over from the K7 and been put into the KX, and we'll show you how that works as well. So we'll come out to test the Pentax KX. We're going to show you a couple of the features, the cross-processing feature and the HDR. Cross-processing first, both go through into the info menu, so we must make sure the camera's on and that the screen on the back is there, and we press the info button. Then on the second option along on the top row is the cross-processing, and then you switch it to on and you say OK by pressing the OK button, and then you're ready to take pictures. Now the great thing about this is it's completely random, so whenever you take a photograph you can take it of the same subject, it'll come out with different processing effects every time, and it does it by just basically randomising the colours and adding a different pattern on. The pattern is a closely guarded secret by Pentax. They won't tell us exactly what it is, and they won't tell anybody in case anybody copies it and uses it for themselves. So what I'm going to do is make sure my self-timer's on, which it is, to 2 seconds. I've got my scene set up, and we're just going to take that now. There we go, and that's actually instantly shown as well, which is good. There's not the extra processing that you sometimes get with these. And I'll take another shot. And that's a completely different colour, and I'll take another shot. There we go. Now you will find that it'll gravitate towards using green quite a lot. It'll prefer that colour, but you know, that's not such a bad thing. We're in a green area after all, so it just kind of boosts those colours a little bit. It also desaturates certain colours, and it just does what the hell it likes. It's brilliant. But yeah, we'll show those pictures on screen, and we'll see what you think of them. So the second feature we're going to show you on the Pentax KX is the HDR mode. It's brought over from the Pentax K7. That was the first camera that we saw with it fitted. It's all in camera, which is really cool, and it takes 3 successive shots at different exposure, merges them all in, and shows you the image on the back of the screen, so there's none of that messing around that you have to do in editing afterwards. The effect that it gives is very much like the ethereal effect that you get on most HDR programs. If you're wanting something more natural, you need to really be looking at doing it in editing and using something like Photoshop CS4, which has an image stacking feature as well as HDR. So basically what we do is we go into the usual place where we did the cross-processing mode as well, which is by pressing the info button. The fourth option along is HDR, and we go in, there's 2 settings, HDR1 and HDR2, which are also obviously as well as off. And one is stronger than the other, so HDR1 is what they call the standard one, which you'll use on most features, and if you want the really strong effect, or if there's still some darker areas coming in through your shot, then the HDR2 mode will boost that even more, and it gives a much stronger effect. So what we'll do now, we'll just show you. Now interestingly, self-timer doesn't actually work on the HDR. I'm not entirely sure. You need a tripod as well. Make sure you got yourself a tripod. I've set this shot up here, and we're going to just test that now. So we'll go HDR1. That takes 3 shots in a row. Now this is just processing the images at the moment, merging them all together, and then it'll show us on the back of the screen. There we go. And then we can go back into info, and then back into the area and HDR2, and we'll take that shot as well, and we'll just wait for that to process. So that does take quite a while to process. It's not like the cross-processing thing where it shows you straight away. It does take a few seconds. That's done now, and then I'll just take a shot with the mode off, so we can compare that against the other 2. That's on self-timer, so that's just going to take us a couple of seconds, and there we go, that's done.